Rolling. Lucas, don't lean back any further or you'll be out of shot. Join to audio.
Yeah, go on. Give it a clap. Okay, so pretty much, for my music video, the target audience is 25 to 40, and with my short film and my music video, like the overall theme that I'm going for is like just pretty much exploring like homelessness. So my first idea for the music video, all the ideas for the music video are to the same song, which is Easy by Lionel Richie. Or if you know that song, and it's Why Easy, that song. And
yeah, that one.
Yeah, and pretty much the first idea is it would literally just be a story about a guy who's like got it all, like he works, he has a girlfriend, like has his life going really, but like for him it's not enough because he doesn't have that like inner happiness that he sees on his commute to work when he passes the same homeless man like each time, and he ends up just giving up his life and just walks out and just goes, do you know what, it's not for me, and he goes and slams it on the streets. That's pretty much the first idea. Second idea is it's from the point of a homeless person, and so I'm gonna like do it through like parallel editing, and it's them like imagining themselves in another life and like the life that they would have wanted, like, so I'd be using the same person, if that makes sense. And then so the homeless person is imagining themselves with like a woman, and then I want to end it with the woman who he imagines himself with giving him money on the side of the street, so it's a bit of like a cliffhanger thing, like, oh, are they going to end up together, like, who knows, sort of thing. And then the third one is, it's about like a child that, this isn't as good though because I don't think it really suits the target audience as much, but it's a child in like an abusive relationship at home with their parents, and they just play the guitar like straight, and then after an argument he leaves to just go live on the streets, and he just is happy and he just has the guitar and that's all he wanted really. And that's it. They're all quite sad, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. The first one's quite an interesting take on homelessness, I think.
Yeah.
Almost showing that there is a joy in the simplicity and minimalism of it.
Yeah.
Which I think is quite interesting, because most people will go, oh, homeless people, they're scummy.
Yeah, like you wouldn't want to be like that.
Yeah, that almost painted have a certain sense of beauty to it, which I think is a really cool way of showing that.
I think they're very good takes, and they're different. You wouldn't see them before. You'd have to get the cast right, make sure that you colour grade properly, and that's music videos, right?
Yeah.
I'd say colour is hugely important for that.
Yeah.
And make sure that if the lyrics fit. So if it's a good, I can't remember the song word for word, but say there's like talking about happy, you don't want to be sad.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
You want to be making sure that it's all correct.
I think this song is just like, the song, to sum it up, is just about a guy who just wants simplicity, you know, and I think that with all of them, what I'm just trying to get across is to just take it away from that we all have these hectic lives, that so much is going on and it all seems like the end of the world, when really there's people out there who have nothing, really, and that's enough for them, and it's just about trying to show that through a narrative. I don't really know what I'm doing.
The second one, so
that's the one about the imagining themselves with the partner.
I think a good thing to look at, I mean, the film itself is terrible, but there's a really good part in Suicide Squad where it's specifically Harley Quinn is imagining life where if she and the Joker just had like a normal family, lived in a normal home, had kids, it's literally like the whole idea of, what if we weren't these insane criminals? What if we just had a normal life? I think if you did something like that, using their technique, so for that it's very kind of oversaturated, it's very bright, very kind of sweet to look at, which is a great juxtaposition to, obviously, she's an insane criminal. I think if you do something like that, that would make it really obvious that this is all in his head.
Yeah.
Because you don't want it to, because you run the risk of making it look like a flashback rather than his imagination. So I feel like when you're editing that, and also in the acting of whoever is playing the homeless guy, you need to really show that this is within his mind, not his past. I think that would be really crucial to show. Yeah.
I think it's kind of saying, why would you want a normal life? I think that's important
Yeah.
to show that kind of normal life is overrated.
Right. Is it? Wait, it's overrated, or
No, it's
better?
to like show like, why would you want a normal life? Like,
What, rather than being homeless?
Yeah.
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 I don't really understand.
Interesting debate.
I think. So
Right.
you're saying you'd rather be homeless?
No. I say the music video is like, you should try to show like,
Bum, bum,
why would you want a
bum,
normal
bum.
life? Like, be different and stuff.
Okay. All right.
I'm not saying I'd rather.
Sorry, your phrasing of that was a bit weird.
Right, yeah, and then my short film, same target audience, still carrying the theme of homelessness. So pretty much the first idea is about a woman who loses her job, and then during her search for her new job, she literally just like, she has a DJ kit, like a set, and she literally just DJs, and that has like big speakers, and she's repeatedly asked to turn it down. There's going to be scenes of like her landlord just bursting in and just being like, turn it off now, because it's literally on full all the time. And she ends up being evicted and is homeless, but she's playing the guitar, like busking. But basically I'm going to end it with a shot of behind her ear of her hearing aid, and that the whole time she was deaf but you didn't know. But that's going to be quite difficult to present, because I don't want to give away the fact that she's that she's deaf, because obviously we're not allowed any dialogue, so I'm just going to kind of carry it on that, and just do things like her getting ready to go to work before she gets fired, and someone ringing her doorbell, and obviously she's deaf, she can't hear it, goes outside, open the curtain, sees there's a car outside and goes, okay, right, I need to go back downstairs now, that sort of thing.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
There are lots of subtle little ways where you
Yeah,
can
like
show it.
little, I want it to be one of those things where the first time you watch it, you don't realise that she's deaf, but then when you watch it back the second time, you're like, how did I not notice that?
Yeah.
Like, I want to drop a load of really subtle hints, but I think it will be a lot easier to do that because there's no dialogue. So it's like, even if there was speaking, like there wouldn't be anyway, sort of thing. And then the second idea is about a homeless man who's like living rough, and he's given money by a woman, and she invites him to a homeless shelter, like where she volunteers, in which like, and then pretty much the woman just starts like regularly visiting him, and then the film ends with her giving him a key to let him move in, so ends the homelessness. But that's like a happier, like cheery one.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then idea 3 is a mother and child walking past a homeless man every day. The mother like warns the child away from it, like, because obviously there's this idea with homeless people about how they all as a whole do so many drugs, and they all do crack, and that's exactly why they're like how they are now, and all that. When actually quite a few times like that's not necessarily the case. Like, it can be really unfortunate, and like how it all comes about. And then pretty much when the child goes to like play, she ends up like taking food out of her cupboards to go give it to the homeless man that her and her mum walked past, and then it just ends with the mother doing it as well. And that's it, really. Just a simple narrative, you know.
I think the third one probably has the best message.
Yeah.
To kind of fight that stereotype of they aren't all
Bad.
drug addicts.
Yeah.
Some people just had a horrible set of circumstances in their
Yeah.
life. And I think that would also help to, because of the target audience of 25 to 40-year-olds, they're the kind of people that will either have or are starting to have kids. I feel like that would send a really good message of these aren't always people that you need to teach your kids to be scared of. They are human beings who
Yeah.
deserve respect and to be treated like human beings, not down on your boot kind of
Not
idea.
like a dog on the side of the road sort
Exactly.
of thing. Yeah.
So I feel like that would send a really good message, especially to the target audience.
Right. See, that's really funny, because I thought that was the weakest idea.
I prefer the second idea of the deaf person. Because if you could get those hints, then it would be.
I think that would work very well. It's going to be very hard to make it work without the dialogue.
I would have to plan out each shot so carefully to make it work.
Yeah, and trying to get it so it's almost two different films when you watch it a second time. That's hard, but if it's done properly, it'll work really well.
And what's the first one again?
It was about the it was more of like the love story about the homeless man and the woman.
Getting the key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's quite weak.
I think
Yeah.
personally,
that's boring.
I think your third idea, would be like it would be quite practical to shoot.
Yeah. I think
What,
the second
the one
one
of-
you'd have to find a fitting character for them to be like.
Deaf.
Yeah. You'd need a strong actress who can clearly portray that she's deaf without obviously saying, "I'm deaf."
Yeah.
I think the third one though sends a better message, personally. I think you could go for a really interesting narrative, because you could start off quite dark, quite dingy of, oh, you should avoid all homeless people, but then lead it up to kind of like quite a sweet ending.
I could even start it with a few homeless people just looking really crapped out like, on the side of the road. Because instantly when you see that, you go, oh yeah. And like, it's about changing that really.
Yeah. And you could also use like, I know some of them have like signs. You could also use that
Yes.
as kind of a way of, like, you could have like, I don't know, I'm not with them, and then an arrow pointing at these other much rougher homeless people, or, stuff like that, to show that he's not, a huge drug addict. He just, lost it all.
I think a key thing is like how you look at the homeless man before the film and how you look at him afterwards would be very different, and kind of honing in on that.
Yeah.
So you feel like no emotions from at the start. Oh well, you kind of ruined your own life, blah blah blah. And in the end, you realise that it wasn't his choice, and you feel more sorry for him.
It's like there's a film, I'll have to find it and say your link, but it's all about a little girl narrating. She wrote a letter to her dad saying, my dad's the best because he's amazing, and he's strong and he's always happy and things like this. And it says, but he lies about being happy. He lies about having all these different jobs and things like that. And in the end, she says like, and he's really unhappy. And he's doing like 4 different jobs. His bosses hate him. He's not giving her extra food because he just didn't want it. He's doing it because he loves her, even though he's going to bed hungry and things like that. And I feel like that would be good inspiration for that as well, to show kind of these two sides to each thing of, on the surface they look one way, but deep down they're like that, which is something you could do with this homeless character for your third film.
I think as well, I'm not really sure what I would kind of do as the main character for that narrative. Like, I don't know whether I would home it in on the child or the homeless man, because I've kind of just it won't be the mother. It will.
I think you've kind of got to like show their relationship and show how they're both humans.
Yeah.
They're both like.
And so different and come from such different backgrounds.
Yeah.
And all that.
Yeah.
I think that's the third one then. Which
I'd say the third one. Third.
I can't even remember what music video
It was the.
Hang on, let me look.
I can't remember now.
It's the imaginary one, or the guy who leaves.
Easy.
I think if I did it as the guy who left his life to become homeless, and then did the second one as the child speaking to the homeless one, I think that they would complement each other, because they're kind of sending similar messages.
So what were your films? Sorry, it was the guy that chooses to be homeless.
It's so confusing because they're all like so similar.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They've all got the same thing.
So the third music video.
Third music video was the child in the
one that I'd
abusive.
say is
the third music video was the child in the abusive relationship that left home to live on the streets. Idea 2 was the imagining himself in a better life, and the first one was a guy who left his current life to.
Yeah, I'd say the second music video, the third film.
Right.
Because if you wanted, you can even have the same homeless guy. So you can have him sat there imagining his ideal life, and then in the film, the little girl, who's helping him, like achieve that, some of that.
That's a
life.
really, really good idea.
Because that would tie it all together
Yes,
quite nicely.
that
Because you could go
would.
from the music video of him imagining it all,
Yeah.
and then you could almost like fade out the music, start the video of him there on the street, and then,
And then that's him. Yeah.
the girl walks up.
That is a really good
I
idea.
agree, Aaron. You're a clever man.
Thank you very much for that, Aaron.
You're welcome.
We need to
I'll
go to
see
lesson.
my name all over the credits then.
Yeah.
We need to go to lesson. We just got a text.
Alright.
What?
Hi, if you're in focus groups, you will need to come to my lesson now.
I don't wanna
know
touch
where
this
you are.
sheet
Your
yet.
focus group should only take one lesson.